Welcome to the Jeremiah Show.
Hey.
I I hear Becca. She's back there. I she, I love a good trilogy. I
Mm.
love a good story with twists and turns and adventure around every corner, with sweeping story arcs, discovery, and sometimes redemption. This is My Girl Named Tom trilogy. This will be our third interview together. And in part one, our heroes won NBC's The Voice season 21. In part two, they were faced with sudden fame and the devastating loss of a loved one. They were forced to conquer the road and their fears while navigating the highs and the lows of their newfound stardom. City by city, state by state. And this is part three. Who knows what's going to happen in part three? But if I use my imagination, girl named Tom might get a little lost, rediscover what is important to them, and find their way back home. Here's what I know about Girl Named Tom from our conversations. This is where I'm going to embarrass them a little bit. Caleb, he's a natural leader. He's kind and he's brave. Joshua is empathetic and honest. Becca is sweet, but so very strong in character. She's a seeker. And they are Girl Named Tom. In a world that offers a lot more of the same thing, Girl Named Tom is fresh, authentic, and just what we need. Welcome back to the show, Joshua, Caleb, and Becca.
Oh
Thank you, man.
I'm
Can we just be done now?
Yeah.
That was the best intro I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you so much for inviting us back. This is an honor to share space and time with you, Jeremiah, on your show. You really honor artists, and we feel very lucky to be on the show.
I feel the same way. I feel like we've it really the three different interviews. This being the third, I feel like I've kept up with you every year. I keep up with you through your socials and your music, but then we get an opportunity to kind of reconnect this way. And I always look forward to it. You guys bring such, I don't know, like you radiate just great people and great music. So thank you for doing the show again. I really, really do appreciate it. And it is an honor. So I already know the answer to this question, but I'll just ask it for everybody out there listening or watching you guys right now. Where have you found your way back home?
Yes.
And where are you?
Three hobbits from Bag End. No, we're in Nashville, Tennessee. We're so lucky to get to call this place home now. Yeah, it's been amazing to establish a community here and feel more and more at home.
Yeah, you're so right. You're a visionary, you're a prophet, Jeremiah. I don't know. The words you're
Prophet
saying.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're speaking truth about our last couple of years and how much we've been traveling and how much we've been the highs and lows have been a little perhaps unsettling in some ways that we didn't even realize. And so getting to settle down, be more grounded, reconnect to what we know we are and to what we love about who we are. This year in 2024, it finds us in a new chapter. And so, yeah, like you said, every year we've talked, it's been a different chapter that we've been in. And hopefully, it's like Star Wars where there's another trilogy to come.
Yeah.
But we're so.
What would this chapter be called, Caleb? What would you call this chapter? I know I'm putting you on the spot on that one, but what does anything pop in your mind? This new chapter?
Well, last year we called The Wild. It was the word of the year, and it kind of speaks to what you're saying, the wild, like whoa, ups and downs, and just a little feeling like nothing is familiar and almost not sure how we fit into it all. So this year, we've talked about out of the wild, but we certainly aren't, we haven't ended our story yet. We know that there's so much unseen.
Oh yeah.
So some title that includes that as well, right? There's no destination in sight, that's for sure.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Again, that's why I said it's so, for me, it's such an honor. And even if we didn't talk, just to watch what you guys are doing and the way you're walking through life gracefully, and with, like I said, with Joshua, empathy and caring about people, it shines through. And then the music is so incredible. Honestly, I'm not, that's how I feel about the music. Every time I hear a song, I'm like, they hit it again. They did it again, one after another. Speaking of your new single, Get a Little Lost, what a great title. Okay, so let me just tell you, this is kind of poetic and a little goofy, but I wrote down what I thought when I read Get a Little Lost today to talk to you about. My mind, the title alone sent my mind directly to like call up fond memories of getting lost, like on a hot sunny day on a 2-lane highway and going off dirt roads and not knowing where I was. And that's what it called up. And then the music honestly crashes over me. It felt like a wave that swept your feet out. And then I'm back there in those memories, getting lost. And I think the song could also be an anthem song for 2024, for the state of the world that we're in right now. I think everybody I talk to, I know everybody I talk to, they want to get a little lost right now. So I think it's such a timely, beautiful, perfect song. And Becca, your vocals on this are so amazing. The melodies and the harmonies in that first chorus I didn't even know how to explain it. You got to listen to it if you haven't heard it. And the way you move your voice into these melodies, really, that's part of what called up that, takes me back in time in those memories. And then guys, when you come in harmonizing in the second half, it's just so powerful.
Thank you.
So whose idea was it to write the song? Was there something that inspired the lyrics or the title?
I was on stage at Soundcheck somewhere along the road last year, and we were just testing out the drums. I think someone was playing the drums, and I recorded a little voice memo of "Get a little lost," just something airy and something meaningful, but also like let go a little bit. Find meaning in letting go. So I that's all I had. I just had those 4 words, get a little lost. And then we took it to a writer's room, and Josh was sharing a little bit of how he was talking to his friend about, you can't get lost anymore. You always have a map in your,
a phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly where you are. And this friend was just feeling that pent up cabin fever and was like, I just want to go to Paris or somewhere just all by myself, and where, I can truly find something out about me. He was like, there's not a whole lot of brand new adventures that you can get into anymore, or maybe it feels like that. Like there are those out there, but it's so much safer and easier and more comfortable to not take them, right? So yeah, that was another part. And then Caleb.
Yeah, this song was really cool because somehow we had all been pondering this idea without knowing that each of us were pondering it. So when we were going into
so you're all in that kind of state of mind a little bit. You were kind of all on the same wavelength, but not communicating it to each other yet.
Until this day. Yeah.
I guess you could say we're siblings or something. I don't know. But another fascinating thing is that we went into a writer's room with a couple other writers, and Sophie Rose, one of the first things she said while we were talking, she was just like rambling, and she was like, I just feel like I'm so stuck. Like I just do the same things all the time. I you know what? Last Wednesday, I told myself I was gonna drive to Arizona the next week. I'm just gonna do it. I don't even know why. And so that's where the first line, there's no reason, but I feel
I
like
get it. Yeah.
Arizona.
Mhm.
And it was like, wait, okay, so you feel this way too. And so if there's the case where 4 musical people or 5 musical people all are thinking the same feeling and
Mhm.
like kind of can reflect it back at each other, it makes for a great song.
It's an
And
exciting thing.
it was really neat how it was speaking to all of us in the room as it came about.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's why I say I think it's like an anthem. So it could be
Yeah.
our song of the year, right, for 2024. Because you're right, Joshua. You've got nothing feels like it's new. It feels like everything's predictable. So
Yes.
and life, should be unpredictable and scary sometimes, but also it should be you should take those risks and those chances to get a little lost, whatever that means to you. So I think it's such a powerful and great song. Great idea, Becca. And it really, really cool how you guys all were feeling that as well. It must have been the part of the tour that you were on, or how you were feeling with the fame, and that's got to be hard to navigate all those new things, and what's real, what's not, and knowing you're real. You guys are three of the most real human beings I've ever met. That So I'm going to ask this question throughout the show. I'm not going to ask all of you at the same time, but I wanted to start with Caleb. Tell me about a time in the past
Hmm.
year when you got lost and what you found out about yourself, what you discovered,
In the past year.
or your whole life, if you want, whatever comes to mind.
What comes to my mind first is my youth, actually. Those first moments when I chose to get lost. And it's not something that we choose to do often because it's scary, but there are certain situations where it makes sense. And I was thinking about um, we've written about it before. Maybe we told you stories about our grandparents' farm when we were growing up. They lived on a 100-acre tree farm that was just really impactful for the three of us homeschool kids, just to go out there and shirts off, shoes off, just be in the dirt for long hours of the day. But I rarely went anywhere without an adult. And I generally tried to stay close to the home base, to this physical house. And that was not intentional, but it's just something that I just did because it felt more safe, like Josh was saying earlier. And I do remember, I don't remember the journey as much as I remember the feeling of being alone once I traveled into the woods. And as a little, I don't know, 10-year-old, whenever I had enough courage to do this for the first time, to go without an adult, just me and my walking stick. And it's just feeling so small. And like, suddenly I'm like, wait, maybe I don't remember where the house was. Like, I've walked these trails with adults so many times before, but now that I'm by myself, maybe I don't know where I am. And just every step felt just like, you know, labored a little bit. But then eventually it was like, no, it's okay. And once I got home again, it was just this feeling of, oh, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess just choosing challenges, like we just so rarely choose to get lost. Usually we're forced into it one way or another and then realize it was good in retrospect. But there are some times where we can choose to take a risk
Mm-hmm.
and to let ourselves loose in a way that's really healthy, I think.
It's such a great story. You could feel the pine needles and the
Yeah,
grass,
the
and
pine, you know it.
your world slowly getting bigger and bigger, and you're in the
Yeah.
forest, and that excitement, but that fear, I could feel it. That was a great story. And why don't we do that more often, you guys? Why do you think we don't? When you recall your memory of getting lost, Caleb, you had to go back to your youth.
Yeah.
We don't do it enough, do we? We don't push ourselves out there
No,
to kind
somehow
of
as
get that.
we get older, maybe it gets scarier too, because we know all the dangerous things out there that can genuinely hurt. And maybe we've been hurt more often now that we're older, and we're just not sure if it's something we want to sign up for anymore.
And
Mm.
when you're young, everything is brand new.
Mm.
Like when you're 3 years old, 90% of your day you've never done before.
Yeah.
You know, like of every day, it's like new, and you're seeing things like for the first time actually. And I think, you know, once we get older, then we love comfortability. It's addicting, but not always the most healthy thing for us, I think. Yeah, and that's why we need each other, I think, to push each other.
And we live in the delusion that we've seen it all.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another piece. It's like, oh, there is so much new out there, but I can go throughout my day and not see or do
You
anything
could.
new.
That would be a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a choice, right, Becca? Like everything's a choice.
Yeah.
How you spend, how you wake up in a bad mood and go, this is the coffee maker didn't work right. My rest of my day is shot. I could go down that road, or I could turn it all around and go, this is what a great day. It's foggy out and dark and gray. Beautiful. I'm gonna go have a good day. You know, it's really how you look at it and how you look at new adventures and discovering new stuff. But I agree with all of you. I think we get into that comfort that's warm and safe, like when you're close to the house, Caleb, and before you start taking it foot by foot towards the woods. But how excited did you feel, and how do you remember that memory so great? That's a great story. So can I take you guys back in time a little bit with me?
Please.
Okay, so let's go back in time to that time right before The Voice, or what I call BTV, before The Voice. So, I mean, you've been accepted, you know you're going, but right before The Voice, Joshua, do you remember what was important to you back then? What was the most important thing to you at that time?
Oh man, I remember being I don't like to lead with fear, but I was like, our town, the town that we grew up in, there was lots of incredible things. They shaped who we are, right? But like there was always this fear of Hollywood and going to LA. And so like losing who everyone was like, oh, okay, just remember who you are, that kind of thing. And I wasn't necessarily worried about that because I was going with these two, but I was scared that the producers might try to take us into a musical direction that we didn't want to go down.
Yeah.
And like we'd been traveling around, you know, singing with an acoustic guitar and our three voices, and it was working in people's living rooms, but we had no idea how that was going to translate on camera in front of millions of people. And so that was like a big question mark. And we're just so thankful that they were like, yeah, rock with just the acoustic guitar and your three voices. We love that. And then it translated, and that was like, it just felt so empowering and confidence boosting.
So it was important. What was most important to you at that time was staying true to who you guys were, and who you were, and what you had become, and going into that big machine in Hollywood, that music grinder, and hoping that you came out still together and with your voice that you have. That's great. What is the most important thing to you now, present day?
Yeah, I mean, I think similarly, it's our three relationships with each other, and making sure that comes before anything. And then secondly, it's still about the music, right? It's still about creating the thing that is most true to us and what we feel the needs reflected in the world. Just really searching ourselves for truth, the truth that we believe in, and then sharing that with the world.
That's great, Becca. I love that the first thing you said was staying true to the three of you, because I imagine, especially over the last couple of years with all the people coming at you, you know, that and the exhausting grind and all the things that went through, you know, personally that happened in your life that you had to deal with, the three of you had to deal with. I love to hear that the three are strong. Caleb and Becca, do you feel the same way, that the three of you come first and then everything else will fall in place, if that's okay?
I do. Yeah. I think I was just reading a postcard that I had written to my mom and dad from California, from The Voice. And I wrote to them that we are tighter than ever in bond and in harmony. And I really do think that as the years go on, we just do create a tighter and tighter bond, because we share so much experience, so many memories, so much life together. It really is a blessing to be able to do this with people you've known forever and you want to know forever. Like there is no Caleb going his way, me going my way, Josh going his way. Like we are going to grow as old as we can together and grow as wise as we can together.
That's amazing.
And so
that's so cool.
The music,
that's
if
what
that comes
sorry
between our bond, we have to say goodbye to the music. But thankfully those go hand in hand. You know, the bond and the harmony. They just do. And it's just a joy to work at this and have our team grow and have other people saying, we believe in you guys too. But yeah, that core is that triangle, the three of us.
Yeah. Becca, on our last interview, and I've all year long, I felt a little bit bad. I felt like maybe I asked too many personal questions. It'd been a tough time, but at that moment, what I loved is that all three of you were so honest with me, and I figure if we're gonna have conversations, and your fans are real. This is really for your fans, right? That they get to learn and hear a different side to you, aside from your music. So I always want to be honest and as genuine as I can with you. And you were super honest, and at that moment of that day, maybe it just was a few times, but if you recall, you were really beating up on yourself on being perfect, because all these people were coming to see you, and you didn't want to let them down, and so you were really honestly hard on yourself. And when I put that up on YouTube, these messages just kept flowing in about, Becca, you're the best. Your voice is beautiful. Don't ever doubt yourself, and all this positive affirmation. And I felt a little bit bad that I had asked you that. But you're honest, and I hope you weren't mad at me for that question. But it was. I think it turned into something really positive for people that felt the same way, and they were saying that, and I thought it was so cool that you are that honest. So, if you don't mind, if I could ask a follow up to that.
Oh, yeah.
What did you learn about yourself this year, Becca?
Oh, this year I've really connected with Casey Musgrave's Deeper Well. Ever since that came out, I'm like, wow, that is what I've been trying to tap into, the deeper well of myself. Without anyone else, I would love to be able to be a deep well myself. And before I marry anybody else, I've got to marry myself. And I've got to really, really get to know the creative side of me and just the joyful spirit and what comes naturally to me. I don't have to change it at all. I just need to harness it. And I've compared myself to the next person just like anyone else. And so I'm thankful you asked that question in our last interview, so that I could be honest with you and that other people could see that even if they think I have a great relationship with my brain and I give myself all the affirmation, there is that part of me that is always trying to level up, is always trying to think that to level up we have to tear ourselves down, and that does not work. So I'm so thankful to say that I'm tapping into a deeper well of creativity just personally. And
that's great. What do you think the biggest strength that you have right now, for yourself, that gets you to that place of searching for, inside yourself? What strength helps you right now in your career and your relationships and internally?
I think the biggest strength is voice and being alone in the bathroom when these guys are nowhere to be, nowhere inside of earshot. No offense, but I just feel so free, and I love working on my voice in those moments. And I think what I learn in those moments I can apply to the recording studio and the stage in a way that I really feel is a strength.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to take our first break here. Again, wow, look at this. We've only had a few minutes here together, and we're really getting to know you guys. And again, I appreciate what you bring, to everything all the way around, to your honesty, and that's what your fans love about you. Okay, so we are premiering. It's been out, but I'm just going to call it a premiere. We're going to play the new single, "Get a Little Lost" by Girl Named Tom. You can go to their website, girlnamedtom.com, for tour dates. There's a newer tour. We're going to announce that here at the end, for their merchandise and their music. And all their socials are on girlnamedtom.com. I'm going to take you to break here. Tell you what we're listening to. I'm going to open up the soundtrack here. I didn't have it open. Let me tell you what we're going out with one of my favorites. "What of You?"
Oh, nice.
Yes. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're with Girl Named Tom.